Hello and welcome to this session. This is Professor Farhat, in which we will discuss what is the alternative minimum tax, AMT, and what's the purpose of AMT. The reason I want to start with this session is to build the foundation. What's the purpose? Because once you add rules, more rules to the purpose, it will be easier to understand why we are doing certain things, why we are taking out this deduction, why are we adding back this credit, why are we not counting this income, why are we counting this income. So the purpose is important and the big idea is important. So I'm going to start by looking at two taxpayers to give you an idea what is the reason why does the AMT exist. So let's assume we're looking at two taxpayers. Taxpayer 1, 22 years old, earn wages of $65,000. They have a small bank account with an interest of $100. Total income for the year $65,100. Taxable income is $65,000 and they take the standard deduction. Let's assume for a particular year is $16,100. Their taxable income is $49,000. And let's assume this individual is work in a CPA firm, in a local CPA firm in their small town USA, and once they get their CPA exam passed, their wages will go up. But this is basically taxpayer 1, and notice their wages are $49,000 taxable wages, so they will pay taxes based on this amount. Let's take a look at taxpayer 2, 35 years old, wages of $100,000. They either work for a company or they have an S corporation and they pay themselves $100,000. They have some money invested and they earn $10,000 in municipal interest. We'll come back and we'll revisit why I'm emphasizing municipal interest. They have tax and interest deduction on Schedule A. They give to charity. They own 2 rental property and they generated $25,000 in mom and pop deduction. It means they can deduct $25,000 on their income tax return. They started a new business this year and they incurred $10,000 in losses where they were able to deduct those losses. So if we compare those two taxpayers, at face value, you would think that taxpayer 2 is making more money, well off, they should be paying more taxes. And what we find out is, if we do some math and we make some assumptions, we find out that taxpayer 2 taxable income is around $34,000. So notice the difference between taxpayer 1 making less money, but their taxable income is higher. Taxpayer 2 is better off financially, but their taxable income is way lower. Now, keep in mind, AMT does not apply to this taxpayer too. It does not apply to taxpayer who's not making a lot of money. We will discuss this. But the point I'm trying to make from this slide is there are certain deductions, for example, or certain tax-free income. For example, municipal interest is not counted as part of income. The reason this individual get a $25,000 tax deduction from the rental income because they have rental income. They can afford to give to charity. They have more homes to deduct tax and interest. So the point is, the tax rules gives you certain preferences, certain adjustments that other taxpayers don't have. So what the government wants to do is this. Well, guess what? Because we have those differences, the purpose of the AMT is to provide equitable distribution for tax burden. So simply put, taxpayer 2 should not really have less taxable income than taxpayer 1, in theory, because they are better off. And our tax system is a progressive. The more you make, the more you should pay. That's the idea. So what they're saying, the purpose of the AMT when it was introduced by President Nixon is to provide some sort of an equitable distribution. So what does that mean? It means, guess what? You computed your taxes. Guess what? We're going to go back and recompute your tax again under different rules under alternative minimum tax. So first you compute your taxes, regular income tax. Then guess what? We're going to do what? We're going to look at certain income differently, look at certain deductions and credit differently, then recompute your taxes and determine whether you should need to pay more taxes or not. So that's the purpose of AMT. It's raising the tax without raising the tax rate. So, and politicians loved AMT because what you can do with AMT, you could always take out a deduction, add more income without raising the tax rate as a percentage. And George H.W. Bush famous line was, read my lips, no new taxes. So when you say no new taxes, you can go back to AMT and manipulate AMT to make the people pay more taxes without raising the rate. So simply put, if you want to think about it, and I don't want to scare you, we have two tax returns. We have the regular income tax return, then we have another tax return called the AMT. Why? Because we're gonna compute your taxes based on the income tax return that applies to everyone. But guess what? We're gonna come back and say, hold on a second, let's try this alternative minimum tax and see if we should charge you more because you are making a lot. You have too many deductions, too many preferences, too many adjustments. Let's see if under alternative minimum tax you pay more. And if you do, you have to pay more of tax, and we call this tax the alternative minimum tax. Let's go ahead and dive into this concept, because are we preparing a complete return? Not at all. We are going to start from your regular income tax and work backward. Before we proceed any further, I have a public announcement about my company, FarhatLectures.com. You are here because you are serious about mastering taxation. Whether you are taking a tax course, studying for the CPA exam, or enrolled agent, tax feels overwhelming, not because it's impossible, but because it's dense, detailed, and often taught at a pace that doesn't match the way you learn. The rules can feel disconnected, and the logic isn't always explained clearly. At Farhat Lectures, we slow it down. We explain the why behind the rules, break concept into simple steps, and rebuild your understanding from the ground up without assuming any prior knowledge. When explanation matches your learning, everything changes. The confusion fades, the rules start to connect, and tax becomes manageable. If you are ready to understand tax with clarity and confidence, start your free trial at farhatlectures.com, and let's build your tax foundation together. As I mentioned, we are going to start by your regular taxable income, and we all hope that you know where to find a regular taxable income. It's from your Form 1040. Now, on this slide, I am going to cover the full formula, not in detail, but an overview. But we're going to cover the details of it later on. But I will be keeping this formula right here throughout the various lectures. And every time I'm covering a topic, I would say now we're focusing on this topic, we're focusing on this topic, so on and so forth. But in this session, I will give you an overview. But this is the key formula. But I will go over an overview in this session. Then we will keep it with us throughout the lessons so we know where we are. It's like basically this is our roadmap. So the starting point is the regular income tax. Then we are going to add the standard deduction if taking. So if the person claimed the standard deduction under the alternative minimum tax, we go back and we say you should not be taking the standard deduction. We add it back if taking. Then if not taking, then we have to add or subtract certain adjustments. Like what? We're going to have one whole session about adjustments, maybe more than one session, maybe two sessions about adjustments. For example, you might have to add back the SALT, state and local income tax, certain depreciation amount, the ISO options, etc. And we'll work on those in a separate recording. You might have to add back certain preference items. What are those preference items? Like private activity bonds. We would look at those in a separate recording. And once you start with regular income tax, add back the deductions, add back the adjustments, plus or minus adjustments. We're going to see why we have sometime minus. Then add the tax preferences. We are going to get to something called alternative minimum taxable income before exemption. So notice we are up to this point, alternative minimum taxable income before exemption. Guess what's coming up next? The exemption. Then we deduct an exemption. Now, What's the exemption? The exemption is a deduction given by the government. So what's the exemption? Well, it all depends on your situation, on your filing status. For example, married filing jointly, $140,200. Again, once I put the year, it means those exemptions might change from year to year. Matter of fact, I'm using the year 2026. On the next slide, I'm going to show you a form for the year 2025. The reason I cannot show you the 2026 because the numbers are there, but the form is not there. So what does that mean? It means if you're looking at this recording in the year 2028, don't panic. Just different figures. The exemption will change, but the concept is the same. So you can deduct $140,200, but your phase out will start when your AMT exceeds $1 million. And how does it phase out? For every dollar above $1 million, you would use 50 cents, 50% of your exemption. For every dollar above this amount, you would use, for every dollar above that amount, you would lose 50 pennies from this exemption. This is if married filing jointly. If single or head of a household, the phase out will start at $500,000 and your exemption is $90,100. Now guess what? I will have a whole session about AMT exemption. But the point is there's an exemption, you will take out an exemption. And after you take out the exemption, guess what you will get? Wow. AMT after exemption. Alternative minimum base after the exemption. Now here's what I want you to think of this number. As an accounting student, CPA exam candidate, enrolled agent, think of this number as the adjusted gross income for the AMT. You remember we have in tax the adjusted gross income. This is the equivalent of adjusted gross income when it comes to the AMT tax. Remember I told you the AMT is basically what? It's like your other tax. It's a different rules. Basically, you're learning a new tax system. Then after we take the AMT, we multiply multiply the AMT the taxable amount by 26 or 28. The first 244,500, 26, married filing jointly 122,250. Then the amount above that will apply the 28. So simply put, you multiply that amount by a tax rate. And this will give us the tentative AMT, how much you should pay in AMT tentatively before any credits, because you can take some credits for AMT. Then the credit usually is, we're going to look at one credit called the foreign tax credit. For example, then you subtract the foreign tax credit. That's going to give us, your what's left after the credit. What's left is how much you are responsible for. And this will be your tentative AMT, final AMT computation. Now, what you do is you would look at your regular tax liability and you will compare your regular tax liability to your AMT. If your AMT is higher, you have to pay the additional tax. If you don't owe AMT more than your regular tax liability, you pay your regular tax liability. So simply put, you get your regular tax liability and you computed your regular tax liability to be 60,000 and your AMT tentative tax liability under all those rules is 58. We're going to go with regular tax liability. If your regular tax liability is 60,000 and your tentative AMT is 62, you have an additional $2,000 called AMT tax because now you should pay 62, not 60. Now, I'm going to show you on the next slide the actual tax form about AMT, and I'm going to show you only a part of it, and I'm going to show you, as I told you, not the 26, the 2025. Let's take a look at Form 6251, and we have the year 2025, and this is a draft. This may not be the final form, but this is the latest one that I could find when I was doing this recording. So we will start with regular taxable income, and let's assume this individual has $210,225. This is from Form 1040. Then what we do is we have to make certain adjustments, and this is what we would learn about in this recording. We're not going to cover every single one of them, but we'll get the idea about what we're doing. For example, line 2A, of filing Schedule A, you have to go back and from Schedule A, add back line 7, which is the deduction for taxes you paid. And let's assume this individual took $40,000. Therefore, we go back and add $40,000. So notice some of these are negatives, some are positives we have to add back, and mostly are add backs. So what we do is we make all these adjustments, which we will learn about later on in future recording, and we'll come to alternative minimum taxable income, AMTI, 250,000 to 25. Then from here, we can deduct our exemption, figure out our taxes, so on and so forth. So this is basically the basic idea. I don't want to show you page 2 where we have the exemption, because I will be working with the year 2026 figures, the exemptions for 2026, because we have them. We don't have the final form, but we have the figure. I want to give you the latest that I can. But basically what I showed you is how to compute AMT before exemption. So this is the form. This section here is this form here, section 6251. Then you will take the exemption. Then you will have obviously your AMT after exemption. Then you apply your taxes. Then you deduct any credit that you have. Then you figure out what's your final AMT. You compare that to your regular tax. If it's more than your regular tax, guess what? You have to pay the AMT tax. So this is again the big picture. The big picture. We are going to dive next into the adjustments. That's the first thing we're going to go into. Certain adjustments. What are they? We would select. We're not going to look at all of them. We're not going to look at all the preferences and all the adjustments, the main one. But as long as you can understand one adjustment, one type of preference, you know the process, you know what we are doing. Now in the real world, let me tell you how this works. In the real world, simply put, every individual is subject to AMT. But not every individual will have to pay AMT. But every individual, basically the software compute two taxes in parallel. So if you're using a software, your software is computing your regular tax and your AMT. If AMT is triggered, you will pay the AMT tax in addition to your regular tax. But most people don't get the AMT. But we have to learn how it works and how it works in the real world. Let's take a look at this multiple choice question from farhatlectures.com. The primary purpose of the AMT system is to do what? Is it A, to provide additional deduction for taxpayer for high income? First of all, it's a tax, it's not a deduction. I will take out A immediately, even if I don't know anything about what's AMT tax. Ensure that taxpayer who claims significant deduction and preferences pay at least the minimum level of tax. I would say between A and B. I'm definitely keeping B, but I'm not sure if it's the right answer or not. Let's look at C. Replace the regular income tax for high income taxpayer. No, AMT does not replace the regular income tax. AMT is a parallel tax, and if that parallel tax is more than the regular, then you pay it. Therefore, C is not. It doesn't replace the regular tax. C is out. Reduce the tax burden on individual with large capital gains. No. Although it says minimum, like you think you're paying less, no, you might have to pay more. It doesn't reduce the tax burden. And what AMT does is ensure that taxpayer who claims significant deduction, if you have a lot of deductions, like tax deduction or certain tax preferences, we would look at those later on. What's going to happen is this: the government would say, look, you have too many deduction, too many preferences, and that's giving you an advantageous position from a tax bill perspective over other taxpayers. We are going to take or reduce those deduction and preferences and recompute your taxes. And when we do so, if your tax bill is higher, you will pay the higher tax bill, and this is why it's called alternative minimum tax. Now, if you're using Farhat lectures to answer this question, you could always ask AI to explain the topic, AMT topic, if you would like to, or explain the correct and incorrect answer, or create a similar MCQ or another MCQ about alternative minimum tax. Whether you are an accounting student, CPA exam candidate, enrolled agent, don't shortchange yourself. The best investment you can make is invest in yourself, and we are going to have a series of recording about AMT to understand AMT from A to Z, whether you are a student or studying for a professional certification. invest in yourself.